So, I wonder if this is working. Hello, #AfraidToFarters. How are you? There was a big one. Can you hear it? Anyway, got the farty drill in the background. That's nice. And I wanted to tell you a story. A friend of mine sent me a message today, and this story is glorious. And it's about a little boy. And this little boy is 6 years old. And last week, or maybe last year, he said to his mum, I want to make a Halloween costume. And she said, great, yes, we should make a Halloween costume. What would you like to make? And he said, I want to be a fart. Well, his mum was quite horrified. And she looked over at his dad. And his dad was even more horrified. And he did that thing, you know, where parents do that look at, like, this is you can deal with this. So the poor mum had to deal with this 6-year-old who wanted to make a fart costume for Halloween. Anyway, she said, no, we have to think of something better. You can't do that, that's not good. And he got really upset, but he didn't cry. He did that obstinate look, you know, the one where he's not giving up on this. He did a very, very obstinate face. So the mum conceded and she said, well, okay then, if you're going to do a fart costume, I'm not helping you. You're going to have to make it yourself. So he did. So they went online and they looked for fart-coloured fabrics. The mum said she'd never thought she'd ever be Googling fart-coloured fabrics, but she did. And they found the fabrics and he made the costume himself. It took him days. She said she'd see him sometimes like making it up, putting the different layers of fabric on, with his tongue between his teeth, really concentrating and focusing on how to make this. He was watching YouTube videos, he was doing everything he could all by himself. Very occasionally he had to ask for his mum's help, you know, things like to tie the knots properly, to make sure the stitches didn't slip out and things like that. Anyway, after a few days, he'd made his costume himself and he loved it. He absolutely loved it. He didn't give up. He was completely determined. He knew what he wanted and he made the costume. And he didn't understand why it was going to be a problem to anybody, but he accepted that it was a problem to people. So he didn't ask them to help him. He sorted it out himself, except to ask his mum to tie a few knots. Anyway, when he'd finished it, he tried it on and he walked around the house like a queen or a king, probably like a king. He walked around the house in his new fart costume and he absolutely was over the moon. He was so happy. He didn't take it off for 3 days. He slept in it. He wore it everywhere and everybody wanted to know how they could get a fart costume. So he started to make them for the other kids because they wanted them. And he actually made a bit of money because they charged commission, clearly, on making these fantastic outfits. Now, the parents, the mother, she dealt with it very differently. The father was never pleased about this, and his grandmother was even more horrified than the father had been. And they were really scowly and they didn't like it at all. But he didn't care. This little boy didn't care. And now his mum is the most proud mum ever. And I thought this was a cool way of illustrating this idea that we learn to be afraid to fart. Animals are not afraid to fart. In our natural state, before we get programmed with polite manners, etiquette, traditions, culture, all that shit, they're just layers and layers and layers on top of our beautiful selves. We need to get them off. We need to get those layers off. We need to free ourselves so that we can become fearless farters again. And what a beautiful story to help to illustrate how to become a fearless farter. So if you want to, I mean, you can look that story up online. A beautiful friend of mine, Risha, hello Risha, if you're watching this, I hope you're watching this. Risha sent me the story. And Risha also has disabilities. And she had to work out how to get the story into text, how to get the computer to read the story, how to make a recording of the computer reading the story to me. And then she sent me a lovely audio message to make sure that I actually got the information she was trying to send to me. I think she said she found it on Facebook. Anyway, I absolutely love this story and I just wanted to share it with you all. I'm wondering if I've run out of time. Anyway, look at me matching. I'm fuchsia pink matching the bush. I match my bush.